Greetings, friends. Today we're going to start right away with the news. In Morocco, they continue to eliminate the consequences of the terrible earthquake that killed thousands of people. The tremors caused significant damage not only to residential buildings and infrastructure facilities, but also to historical museums and mosques throughout the country. Marrakech was particularly hard hit and was at the center of the incident. The streets of the city are filled with debris of broken glass, shattered walls and roofs. The minaret of the Harbish Mosque on the famous Jima Lfna Square, included in the list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of UNESCO in 2001, almost completely collapsed. Specialists estimated the magnitude of the earthquake at 7.2. The death toll exceeds 2,000 people. Many areas are now without electricity and communication. King Mohammed VI of Morocco announced the introduction of 3 days of national mourning in memory of the victims of this devastating event. People who have lost their homes are forced to sleep on the streets, while tourists are urgently trying to leave the country. However, the cost of airfare has risen significantly. Several countries have come to Morocco's aid, including Britain, Israel, India, France, Italy, and Turkey. Qatar has sent 7 helicopters to Morocco for search and rescue operations, as well as providing tents, medical equipment and food. The International Committee of the Red Cross has contributed about $1 million from its emergency fund. The earthquake in Morocco was the largest in Morocco's history over the past 100 years. In Mexico, the statue of Christ, which is the largest in the world, was destroyed by lightning. The height of this statue is 33 meters. Surprisingly, the monument had no lightning protection system and it caught fire after being struck by lightning. Even the rain could not prevent the disaster, and the statue eventually turned into ashes. The cost of the damage is estimated at several $million. Locals and tourists expressed their shock and grief over the loss of this landmark. It should be noted that 3 years ago lightning already struck the statue of Christ, damaging the hands and head of the figure. Then it was restored. However, in this case, the decision on the future of this monument is left to the discretion of the local authorities. Greece is now facing the consequences of Storm Danielle, which hit the country a few days ago. City streets were flooded, automobile traffic became almost impossible and local farms were also underwater. It is sadly noted that this period of bad weather has claimed the lives of 10 people and another 6 people are reported missing. According to Greek media, many citizens have been trapped in their homes and rescuers are working hard to free them as soon as possible. In 2 days, Greece has received more rainfall than the 3-year norm. Scientists are even talking about the emergence of new permanent lakes. Water supply systems have been damaged in a number of towns and now, according to the health ministry, the water has become unfit for drinking. At the moment, emergency evacuations are being carried out in the region, with boats and helicopters taking people to safe places. Almost 2,000 people have already been rescued. According to experts, the bad weather will continue to last in the country for several more days. Residents are asked not to make attempts to fight the elements on their own and to prepare for any development of the situation. Georgia has also suffered from heavy rains. In various parts of the country, roads were washed away, yards of private houses and residential buildings were flooded. It is emphasized that the rains lasted almost 8 hours, and such amount of precipitation caused rivers to overflow. Even small streams turned into powerful torrents, washing away everything in their path. Local services mobilized rescuers, police, film teams, and used heavy equipment to participate in a disaster response. Drones were also brought in to monitor the situation. According to the latest data, 50 people were evacuated from the disaster zone. Many settlements remained cut off from the central highways, as machinery could not reach them. Power grids have been damaged and gas supply has been interrupted. There are also reports of landslides, and so far at least 2 people are known to have died. Emergency and disaster services continue to work in the flood zone. An unusual entertainment has appeared in New York: rat tours. Earlier this year, New York City Hall recognized that the number of rats in the metropolis exceeded 10 million, which means that the number of rodents exceeded the number of local residents. The authorities promised to fight this problem and even appointed a former schoolteacher responsible for the extermination of rats, who is now called the Rat Tsarina. But in the meantime, enterprising residents have found their own way to entertain themselves. They organize tours of neighborhoods where there are more rats than anywhere else. It all started with a broadcast by blogger Kenny Ballwork, who filmed places in New York City where rats have become a problem. Over 10,000 people watched his broadcast, and soon people were asking the blogger to take them along. Now Ballwork regularly organizes tours of New York neighborhoods where you can see clusters of rats both day and night. As scientists from the US report, the quality of the Earth's air is getting better. Over a 20-year period from 1998 to 2018, they conducted studies to detect the presence of tiny particles of soot, asphalt, and rubber in the atmosphere. Their research showed that the average concentration of these pollutants is decreasing. This is due to measures taken to reduce harmful emissions, primarily in China. In addition, there is also a decrease in industrial pollution in different regions of the world. Researchers noted that until 2011, Asia, Africa, and South America had the most significant increase in pollution. However, after that, more regions started to reduce pollution levels, including Europe, Asia-Pacific, Southeast Asia, Russia, tropical Africa, and most prominently China. Scientists are now urging authorities in various countries to keep up the momentum and continue efforts to improve air quality, confident that additional measures could lead to even more positive results. In the zoo of the city of San Antonio, located in the state of Texas, USA, a small okapi was born. This is a special species of parnopod animals belonging to the giraffe family, but with characteristic stripes on the body resembling zebras. After a long 14-month pregnancy, the female okapi gave birth to a long-awaited boy. The plan is to choose a name for the baby during the annual fundraiser held at the San Antonio Zoo. Okapi are also known as African unicorns because of their unique appearance. The UNESCO World Heritage Convention estimates that there are only about 30,000 okapi left in the wild, primarily due to the threat of poaching and destruction of their habitat. Finally, there is the story of a beekeeper from Armenia who transformed a bus into a mobile station. Goris Karlan Shagarian has developed a special treatment room inside this bus, providing bee therapy. He claims that his passion for beekeeping was inherited from his father, and for over 30 years he has been delving into the basics of this art. Subsequently, after 2020, Karlan decided to optimize his space and began transporting his hives inside mobile buses. His typical day involves checking out the hives first thing in the morning and then spending time inside his healing room. According to Karlan, anyone can visit his healing room, relax to the sound of the bees buzzing, and breathe in the honey air. However, the most important thing for Karlan is that he does it purely for the sake of his soul, not to make money. His goal is to help sick people and to be able to heal without medication. Friends, share what news has affected you the most. How do you feel about the aftermath of the earthquake in Morocco? What are your opinions and analysis of the events surrounding the Morocco earthquake? What factors do you think may have led to such devastating consequences, and is there any way to mitigate such risks in the future? Don't forget to express your support to the people of Morocco and Greece who are experiencing floods. How do you view the fire of the statue of Christ in Mexico? And how do you perceive the idea of rat tours? Do you think it is absurd? Please share your opinions in the comments. May peace and goodness accompany you and your families, and don't forget to take care of yourselves and our common home, our planet, always remaining people with a capital letter.